Jim Sterling is a fucking idiot. I guess part of the reason why he remains popular is because he has some inside lines with leftist gaming journos who have inside lines into developers, so he can break news, and therefore, you know, he gets out first and people think he's cool. And the other thing is that he is smart enough to know to pick and choose when he's going to work his political bullshit into his videos. But one of the things that he keeps fucking doing, and people don't fucking catch him on, is how many times he does the games is political messaging shit. So he's done this fucking multiple times, and this week he's done it again, talking shit about Tom Clancy's The Division 2, and particularly the developers trying to not be political with their game and arguing that their game is not political and they're trying not to pull a Battlefield 5. And he says they're idiots because their game is political. But the thing is, Jim Sterling is a sophist retard. Okay? Now, sophistry is a catch-all term that basically means when somebody is using very deceptive, fallacious reasoning to try to support their argument. But usually when somebody's being called a sophist, it's a very specific fallacy. It's redefining all the terms in an argument so that you are always correct, that your position is unfalsifiable. By the way, if you have an unfalsifiable position, that means your position is bullshit. Okay? It literally means it's unscientific nonsense. If you have defined yourself into being unfalsifiable, you're a fucking retard. And a lot of the clapping seals in Jim Sterling's argument thinks that when he has basically set up the argument as the developers of The Division 2 are stupid because they're trying to say they're not political when their game is political, and the reason why their game is political is because everything is political, and since this game has things in it, and all fucking things are political, therefore this game is political and the developers are stupid. Did you catch the fucking fallacy in there? All things are political. Like, you don't even have to watch, 30 seconds of his video where the first thing he says is the game is political because the villains in the game, the way the plot starts is some villains like put a virus on money on a holiday and in a terrorist attack. And of course, terrorism by definition is a political act. Therefore, if terrorists are in your game, terrorists are political, therefore your game is political, therefore you're retarded. Again, why don't you think about it this way? Take one of those old black and white adventure serials from the fucking 1920s or whatever, where Snidely Whiplash kidnaps the fair maiden and ties her to the railroad tracks. We all know this one from Anita Sarkeesian, who Jim Sterling's a big fan of, and a big fan of her fucking reasoning as well. Well, that's a damsel in distress. That's sexist. Sexism is political. Arguing against sexism is political, so anybody who commits a sexist act, like making a damsel in distress trope, is political, and the villain is political because he exploited a woman's weakness, and that's political. Therefore, this fucking old-timey, fucking silly, fucking silent movie serial is political. You see how fucking stupid that is? So if your game has terrorists in it, your game is political because it contains the politics of what? Terrorism bad? Terrorism are bad? Are you fucking serious? That's your big gotcha? Terrorism are bad is political? Jim Sterling, you're a fucking fat retard. You're fucking stupid. Your fans, the clapping seals that are your fans, are fucking stupid. And the hilarious thing is the hypocritical projection of them saying, oh, you are just being a hypocrite because you do want games to be political. You just want them to contain your politics. Well, what are my politics, Jim? As somebody who didn't want to buy Battlefield 5 because it was political, and how is Battlefield 5 political? It ain't terrorism are bad. It's we want women inclusion because we're feminists, so we're going to, instead of accurately portraying, say, the Norway mission where they sabotage a heavy water facility owned by the Nazis, that was done by an international team of male commandos who actually did it without firing a shot through infiltration and sabotage. But instead, we're going to do it with a single woman, or two women technically, who do it by killing a metric fuckload of Nazis with bullets. And then claim our game is historical and not a divisive political message, despite it very clearly openly, blatantly being a political message about women inclusion, which has nothing to do with World War II, where the only women on the front lines were from some countries that literally ran out of men to throw into the meat grinder, like Russia, where tens of millions died. Therefore, they were throwing kids, old people, and women out there. Not because women are strong, but because we have no one else to carry a gun. Are you fucking kidding me? So, those two things are the same. That's called a fallacy of false comparison. That's a false fucking comparison. They're not the same, you fucking fat retard. Are you fucking kidding me? Now see, this is how sophistry works. If you literally redefine all the terms in the argument so that you can never be wrong, that's called making yourself unfalsifiable. And unfalsifiable arguments don't mean, hey, I win. It means your argument is bullshit, incoherent, and illogical. All fucking cogent arguments are falsifiable. If you've defined yourself into literally being unfalsifiable because you said literally fucking everything is political, therefore me looking at my nails is political because all things are political, which is a false definition, which is fucking sophistry, that does not mean you're right. That means you're fucking stupid. And your fucking clapping seal fans are fucking stupid. And everyone's patting themselves on the back. And what are you trying to say about me? What are the politics I want? White supremacy? Alt-right shit? Fuck the Jews? Like what is what I want? How am I a hypocrite? Because what do I want instead of women inclusion? And why am I'm a hypocrite, therefore I don't get to tell you that because you want the division and Wolfenstein and yada 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 to bash Trump because they should, because all games are political, and therefore if all games are political they should show the correct politics, which of course are my politics because I'm always right. No. I want a game in which there are villains, which I shoot, and I guess in the case of the Division, what I would want is an enjoyable Skinner box with good loot progression and good skill progression, with good online multiplayer where I shoot baddies. And yeah, we kind of want a plot, but let's be real. Anybody who's playing bullshit like the Division, like Anthem, like Destiny, almost nobody really gives a fuck about the plot. They want the plot to be there, but they want the window dressing. What they just want is the looter shooter. They want the Borderlands 2. Basically. And they don't really care. And in fact, the more noticeable the bad plot is, the worse it is. And of course, what would make it more noticeable if it had ridiculously partisan fucking political messaging in it. And the other thing is progressives have this idea like they're the majority, whether silent or otherwise. That's not true. At least in say, the West, even if I balance it more in favor of progressives by including, say, the UK and Canada and Australia, they're still about half. And that's a gigantic stretch. Now, there might be more of them than people who are conservative. Although in America that's not the case, but it could be if you include the West in general. However, the real overwhelming majority, I'd say it's much more likely that the progressives are like 30%, conservatives are like 20%, and then the rest, really, the other half, are people who don't care and honestly don't want to care, especially when they're not watching cable news, they're not reading news publications online, they're not arguing with people on Facebook or Twitter, they're playing a video game. Video games are escapism. Didn't you used to work for a magazine called The Escapist, Jim, you fucking retard? And they don't want to be reminded of how miserably divisive politics are. And the other thing is that the political messaging is not necessary, because sometimes all people really want to do, even if there's some complexity to it, they want something that boils down to kill the baddie because they're bad. And they don't need it to be bad because my white supremacy or because my racism or because my sexism or because my bourgeoisie, proletariat, blah, 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 blah. Sometimes they just want, this guy's fucking evil because he's a thief or an exploitative dictator or fucking terrorists, which are very basic things. Terrorists are basically the modern equivalent of fucking roving bandits, who have always been a trope of, hey, fuck those guys, we're going to kick their ass and not let them steal from us or not let them kill us or not let them take our women or whatever. That's a trope. And it's not a fucking snooty political messaging trope. It's a fucking archetype. It's not political. It doesn't have to be political. And making it political unnecessarily is actually a bad business move. Because if you repeatedly piss off potential customers who don't buy your game because of unnecessary political messaging, then you're a fucking idiot. So basically, Jim Sterling is throwing a fit at the Division 2 developers for making a smart business decision. For not unnecessarily hamstringing their fucking consumer product. It's not fucking games as art here. This is the fucking Division. It's low tier fucking trash. It's the Transformers of video games. Nobody actually cares. Nobody should care. And anybody who's playing it wants the Skinner box looter shooter RPG bullshit. They want to fucking blow shit up with friends. They don't really want to think about this game. They're basically satisfying the fucking reptilian hindbrain reward center of their brain. That's what they're looking for. And if you're repeatedly engaging the frontal cortex with political messaging and disrupting the fucking flow of the game, which is progress, get the thing to get the thing, then you're fucking up the entire formula for no reason other than to satisfy the fucking obsessive, selfish, narcissistic, greedy ego of fat pigs like you. Fuck you, Jim Sterling. Fuck everybody who likes you.